Hello, flatties and globe defenders. It's Critical Think from Down Under. And today we have a relative newcomer to the flat earth debunking, but he's very successful. He's come out of the gate with all guns blazing and jumped right in with live shows, debates, and really racked up quite a few subs in a short time. He has a BSc in nuclear engineering, energy systems, and fusion technology, and a BSc in physics. He's a clever guy. And he's been through a few jobs, including a wind farm developer. But now, due to health issues, he's housebound, but that gives him plenty of time to serve up some trouble for the flat earthers. Won't you please welcome Fight the Flat Earth?
Hey, thanks for having me.
No worries. I guess you are relatively new, and I haven't seen any other interviews where you've talked a lot about yourself. So I think we've got some good fertile ground here. What do you think?
Yeah, I've never been interviewed before, so I'm looking forward to this as well. It's all new to me as well. I never thought that in the space of just over a month I'd be this involved with everything and have this many subs, and I'm having so much fun.
Oh, that's great. So yes, of course, we want to know what got you started in this Fight the Flat Earth business.
My kids basically, my son came home very upset one day because one of his friends and his friend's dad had basically called him an idiot because he didn't believe in the flat earth. And that was, to be honest, the first I'd really, I knew about the flat earth, but that was the first I'd really heard about it. And then after that, I was a little bit angry. So I looked into it and then realized what big of a thing it was. And then I started looking at the YouTube channels, Simon Dan, Conspiracy Cats, and Red Rhetoric, and I spent a good 6 months just being obsessed with watching these videos because not only were they funny, but they were really informative about the topic, and there was a lot of good science in there. And my wife was like, "You've got a lot of spare time. Why don't you just start a YouTube channel yourself? So you do what your wife tells you in general." So I did.
Oh, yes. Oh, well, good that your wife suggested. That means you've got her support for this because, it takes a bit of your time.
Yeah, very much so. But like I said, I'm housebound. I'm here all the time. So, it's the kids are at school during the day. I was feeling a bit down about myself, not being able to work anymore, and it's given me something to focus on, which is making everything. I'm happier. Everyone's happier. It's a good thing, I think, for me especially.
Yeah. So would you like to tell us a little bit about how you got to the situation of not being able to work anymore?
Well, I was in the Royal Navy, and I was trying to fix something that was supposed to be locked out in the bridge, so that the mechanics of it wouldn't operate. The machinery wouldn't move, but it wasn't locked out properly. So a hydraulic piston engaged when it shouldn't have and pinned me against the bulkhead, crushed my shoulder and my chest, snapped my collarbone, pinned me and pushed me against it in an awkward position, twisted my knee. And that was the end of my military career. A few surgeries, I was out of the military. I was, hurting all the time and dislocating my shoulder, but I was still kind of able to work. I was starting to have issues with my leg. And then when I was running one day, my knee just popped completely because of the damage that was already there. And then that became so bad that they're talking about taking my leg off in the next year or so, because the damage can't be repaired. There's been so many surgeries and they have had pins and stuff in there that when the damage has happened, it's so severe. It's a case of either replacing the knee every kind of few years for the rest of my life, or get it off and get a prosthetic. And you got to think, what's the better quality of life option? And I'd rather have a prosthetic and learn to deal with that than have to go through knee surgery every few years or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I can't work anymore. I tried as much as I could. I didn't ever want to be in a situation where I was relying on state handouts and stuff, but that's where I am now. So.
Okay. Well, I think you're putting your time to good use. So there's something. So I noticed that you've come right out the gate, yes, with an amazing intro. I mean, where'd you get that intro from?
Random things. You might have seen him around on the scene. when I started doing my channel, I spoke to one of my friends who's in a metal band, and he did the music for me. He offered to do that, and then I think in one of my first videos, I played it whilst I was on the Non Sequitur show, and then Random Ting said, "Oh, would you like me to make an intro that matches your music?" And yes, of course I would. So, his description is in his link is in every description, every video, and I always shout out to Random Tings, thanks for doing that. He's absolutely incredible, and it looks great, and to have that intro made me very happy.
So I mean, I was amazed, with the metal sound, fight the flat earth,
Yeah.
I thought, how the heck did you get that? That sounded really good.
The guy that did it, he's in a band called Sleepwalker. Sam Sorkeld is his name, the singer. You wouldn't think it, but he's literally about 5'0". He's a tiny little thing, but then when he gets on stage and sings, he's got a voice like he is Satan.
So I see some of your hobbies include video games, and
yeah,
a bit of a gamer. Tell us about some of your games.
My wife and I, to be honest, games is one of the reasons why we got married. Our love of video games that we both had cemented the fact that we could spend time together and be happy together. And I've been married to her for 12 years, and for nearly every evening of those 12 years, we'll sit down together and we'll play some video games together, especially Overwatch. We love playing that together, doing teamwork. And I don't know, most people in the evenings will sit down and put the telly on or whatever, but my wife and I, we play video games, and we love doing it. And now both our kids love video games, so it's kind of like a family hobby, things that we do together. We play Minecraft together, and gaming is a lot of fun, and I'm in pain a lot of the time, and for me, it's helped take my mind off a lot of things. So
yeah,
gaming's a lot of fun.
Well, yes, I'd say I'm a bit of a gamer myself, but obviously I don't get much time to play games these days, but I have enjoyed video gaming a lot. It's wonderful.
I must admit that since the past 6 weeks since I've been doing this, I haven't had as much time to play video games as I would like.
That's right. So you've good technical background. Oh, excuse me, got this thing in my throat today. And you're involved in designing new aircraft carriers.
Yeah, well, my team, during my training for my engineering, one of the projects we were put on was working with the people that were designing a lot of the things for the new aircraft carriers, the HMS Queen Elizabeth and the sister ship. And we were basically involved in designing the ventilation systems for that. So I just always like to point out to people that, see that massive ship there? Yeah, I helped design that. It was nothing major. I didn't build the engines or anything like that, but I had a hand in developing one of the most impressive things that the UK has ever built, and I feel quite proud about that.
Yeah. I just keep an eye on the chat here. Where's Wally says, oh, Flat Earth is a big game, really. So he thinks you're playing a big game here.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a game, but there's certainly an ebb and flow to the way that you have to deal with flat earthers. That there is a rhetoric that seems to always go on, and the more I've done it, I feel like I've got better at dealing with flat earthers because I know what to expect, and you can equate that to gaming, I guess.
I don't know. I don't think gaming is that idiotic. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you probably have to be more intelligent to play video games than be a flat earther.
So what are your top 2 most annoying things that flat earthers say?
Show me water bending and prove gravity. They're 2 of the most basic, always heard arguments from a flat earther. Oh, well, you can say what you want, but you can't show me water bending. And then the next thing you say is, well, when you say about water bending, the thing that causes that is gravity. Oh, well, you need to prove gravity. Yeah, they're asking you to prove, to tell you something, but then already saying that they're not going to accept what the answer is. And that round and round conversation does get me annoyed.
Yes, I noticed that they use words very well, a lot of them. Some of them don't, of course, but the ones that they've always got an argument for something, never any actual evidence, but there's always an argument. They try to talk their way out of anything. Don't you find that?
Yes, and then they try and switch it round. Their argument will then be, "Oh, well, you don't have an argument, and you have the burden of proof." And they just switch things round without ever actually proving something themselves. Just shift the fact that because you can't prove it, then it must not be true. Ignoring the fact that they're completely misunderstanding what burden of proof is. They are just shifting the narrative to fit what they want. Even the conversations that they have with you, they try and shift them to fit their particular narrative.
Yes, that's right. Oh, so what have you got planned in the next coming? I notice you've actually got organised and got yourself a whole timetable coming up.
Yeah, well, the kids are back to school after the holidays. I'm going to have even more time to myself. So I thought I'd actually get organized and get ahead with things. So I've been writing scripts and recording stuff ahead of time. And I figure if I can do that, then there's no reason why I couldn't put out a lot of material. And one of the main reasons is that I'm having a lot of fun doing this. It's given me something to keep my mind active, to keep me focused on, and I'm enjoying doing it. If there's ever a point where I stop enjoying doing this, then I won't do it anymore. But as I'm enjoying it so much, I just want to keep doing it.
That's exactly right. I do have a little bit of fun making my videos too, but I'm more motivated by what I see as something that needs to be fixed on the internet, as they say.
Most certainly. I mean, that's the reason why I started it, is because this person thought it was okay to kind of shout at my child, but then looking into it all, there's so much more behind it than just people thinking the earth is flat. I equate it to being like a cult, because to believe that the earth is flat, you literally have to warp your way of thinking. And then once you believe the earth is flat, you will then believe all the other conspiracy theories, because it changes the way that you look at things. And then you start ignoring outside influences. It's saying that science is fake, saying that math is fake, and it can ruin people's lives. We've seen a couple of people, Team Skeptic debated someone on Non Sequitur show that had to do the debate from a storage unit because he'd lost his house and his family and everything because of his obsession with the flat earth.
Yeah,
and
yes,
when you look at things like Scientology, there's so many parallels in the way that the mindset that there is. So I think it's more than just laughing at the idiots being stupid. There is a dangerous cult there that vulnerable people will jump on. And then you have idiots like Logan Paul, whether he's a flat earther or not isn't even the point. The fact is he's got 18 and something million subscribers that are mostly probably young teenagers in a vulnerable mindset. And if your favorite online celebrity says the earth's flat, then the earth's flat. And that's dangerous.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. I think Logan Paul, I'm going to say, I think that's a publicity stunt for him. But
yeah,
it's crazy and dangerous. And yeah, I agree with everything you say about that. That's just crazy. We should get our information out there as best we can. But he's got 18 million people. How many subscribers have we got?
Yeah, it's I want to. I don't think that I can change flat earthers' minds, because there's going to be the few that will come out of it, and that's all good. But I think most flat earthers, once they're flat earthers, that's probably them. And I don't do the things that I'm doing to try and change their mind. It's more that if people watch me and see how stupid the whole thing is, and how stupid the people that subscribe to it are, and how much ridicule you're going to be subject to if you even think that this is reality, then maybe it's going to make you think twice. So, there is a lot more to it than me just shouting at idiots. I want to try and, science is going to help our society grow and advance, and these people are trying to take us backwards.
Yes, indeed. So, excuse me, I'm just going to cough a bit.
That's fine.
You mentioned a little bit there about um, a, like flat Earth is like a cult, and I've thought this for a long time too. What do you think the similarities are?
One of the things that I've seen is I've interviewed two ex-flat earthers, Clear Cognition and Sean G. And going through the comments of those videos, a lot of them are from flat earthers that are saying you are a sellout. You're just you're lost to us. You're scum. And that kind of angriness about losing one of their cult members is exactly reminds me of when I watched the documentary about Scientology and the way that they were with people that were trying to leave the Church of Scientology. And that was one of the first parallels that I thought, yeah, it definitely looks like a cult. And then when you think about the way that it has to warp people's minds, and then the only information they take is from within the flat earth community, they'll ignore outside influences and outside knowledge, and it becomes very culty in the way that the communities are tight knit. And when that kind of community with the vulnerable people are just reinforcing their own ideas, then it just gets stronger and can spread to more vulnerable people. And that to me is exactly what a cult is.
Yes, exactly. There's the whole brainwashing aspect. I'm trying to work out exactly how it works, but if you watch enough YouTube videos, there's some kind of brainwashing thing that happens if you're not, a little bit more clued up. If you
Yeah.
don't know any better, it all seems to make sense in the absence of conflicting, or I should say, reality information. And what you say is true. Yes, if someone tries to leave, they're ostracized, and now we have the echo chambers and flat Earth is banning all criticism from their channels. I mean, that's really cult-like behavior, isn't it?
Yeah. I would never delete comments on my channel unless they're really kind of nasty, pedophilia type stuff. I wouldn't, I'd delete anything like that. But if there's flat earthers that want to argue or anything, they can say whatever they want on my channel. I'm not going to start, limiting the freedom of speech of comments in my channel. But a lot of flat earthers, I mean, I'm banned on so many channels. I'll leave a comment and then you won't see anything, because they just don't want anything that disagrees with them, and they don't want people to see anything that disagrees with them.
Yes, so I've racked up a few, not quite bans, but they hide you from the channel. You can post something, but it never gets seen by anybody. You go, oh, why didn't I get a reply to that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Okay. So I'm going to look. You've managed to rack up quite a few subs here very quickly. What do you think is due to that kind of success? I mean, some of us have been struggling for quite a while. So what do you think contributed to your success in that?
I honestly don't know. Before I launched the channel, I felt like I was quite involved with the community, talking to a lot of people, conspiracy cats and people, people that watched his channel, and I kind of had their support to start my channel. And then I started arguing with Flat Out Hero before I'd even released a video on my channel. Once I started it, I went on to Flat Out Hero's thing about the $100,000 challenge and started arguing with him. And he was like, if you think you're so big, why don't you debate me? I was like, okay, then I'm about to start a channel. Let's have a debate on my channel. And then Flat Out, the extremely funny guy, said that he would moderate the debate. And I think that got me quite a bit of attention from the start. And then I don't know, I guess I was picked up by the YouTube algorithm, and ever since then, the support seems to have grown. It's been a little bit overwhelming, to be honest. I thought I'd get a few hundred views or something, but I'm close to 250,000 views on the channel now.
Yeah, well, that's really good. Congratulations. We can only
Thank you.
only hope that all our channels grow, so that I think the Flat Earth's going to get a really big hiding in 2019 now. With
definitely. I feel like it's a community that all the channels are talking, and I don't want to call it a team or anything, because any flat earthers watching will see that as a conspiracy. But there's definitely a big sense of community, amongst all the channels that are trying to debunk flat earth and pseudoscience and stuff. And I think the community as a whole will grow together, or at least that's what I hope. Even newer people than me, like the Creaky Blinder. Have you seen him?
Yes.
Welsh guy, I think he's absolutely amazing. And, I thought I want to, I've been helped by people like Godless Engineer and stuff being on their channels. So I wanted to help. So as soon as I could, I had him on my channel. And I know I'm nothing big, but I want to help people in the community as much as I've been helped as well. So I want the community as a whole to grow, because I think that will be a better way of smacking down the flat Earth.
Indeed. So you tell me, was it about 6 or more months ago that you first noticed flat Earth?
I'd say maybe at the kind of most of last year, I'd had a bit of a difficult few years with having to get a new house because of how disabled I was. So once we got settled in this new house about last February, and I think it was not long after that I started watching the stuff. So around about maybe March, April last year. And then by November, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a channel.
Yeah. So I've been in about a year. Same thing as you, when I looked at the videos, I thought, wow, this can't be right. And then, I have to do something about this. And here I am.
Yeah.
And I noticed it's progressing, evolving. The arguments are evolving now, and the people on the globe Earth side are getting more involved and more science. And have you noticed changes over the last year there?
Yeah, I've noticed that flat earthers have to keep coming up with new stuff because more people are able to refute the standard arguments that there are. I've gone into a couple of debates and I didn't feel like I was prepared for it because I didn't have 100% knowledge about the particular subject we ended up debating about. When I was debating with someone about how artificial horizons and pendulous veins work, I didn't know it. I knew it was gravity, but I didn't know the inner workings of it. So I didn't have all that knowledge. But then I'd looked at other people's videos that had discussed that, and it's helped my knowledge, and I've looked into it. And I think as more and more people are picking up the science and the physics that are able to refute the standard arguments, the flat earthers are having to come up with more and more outlandish theories to try and prove what they're saying. So yeah, it's definitely evolving.
Yeah, I noticed. That's right. And yes, right. They're becoming more elaborate in the crazy explanations. They're going to have to get more crazy and more crazy, because as they bring something up, it's getting debunked fairly easily these days.
Yeah. I mean, Ross Thatcher is a prime example. I think some of the most crazy theories that I've heard of. He's got the standard, space isn't real, density buoyancy rubbish, but then he also thinks giants dug the moon out of the Grand Canyon, turned it into glass, filled it with helium, and put it in the sky to mock us. Like, all right, saying the Earth's flat is one thing, but come on, that's another thing.
That's an entirely new level of crazy there. And he's a fellow Aussie. Isn't that marvelous?
Yes. It was mind-blowing when I met him on the Non Sequitur show, and then some of the things that he was saying, like the sun is an interdimensional portal. Foucault's pendulum is actually controlled by demonic forces. There was the mountains are stumps of ancient trees that were cut down to keep us away from the rest of whatever there is out there, where I don't know where the giants went or something. Yeah, so the arguments are definitely getting crazier.
Right. So I'm running out of questions. Is something you'd like to talk about at all? I mean, free fall. Let's go for it.
Well, like I said, I think the flat Earth is more than just something to laugh at. I mean, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I'm enjoying interacting with the community. It's great, but it's more than that. I want people to be aware of how dangerous and stupid the flat Earth is, because as a society, science is the thing that's going to help us advance. And if we are all working towards a common goal of being smarter, then surely we're all going to have better lives in the long run. So things like flat Earth, and then even other conspiracy theories, anti-vaccines and stuff, I don't really want to tackle other stuff because that's not what is in my head right now. But all the same stupidity seems to apply to all these conspiracy theories, and it's holding everybody back, because the people that do fall for it, they fall for it hook, line, and sinker. And you know what? If they want to fall for it and then keep it to themselves, that's great. But if you're then going to come on YouTube and try and spread that shit, then I'm going to call you a fucking idiot over and over until you go away.
Yeah. So there's a question here from Where's Wally. It's actually, I thought about asking it too, but your name is Fight the Flat Earth. So when we fight the flat Earth and win, what are you going to do?
It's something that I've thought about, and maybe I would look at other conspiracy theories. I've got the scientific knowledge that I think I could tackle a lot of other conspiracy theories. I'd have to study some things to understand things more, but maybe a name change to something. I don't know, Fight All Conspiracy Theories, Fact, or something. Or maybe I'll just be happy that Flat Earth has gone away and get on with my life. I mean, I've got the passion at the moment to kill Flat Earth. So if Flat Earth died, maybe my job would be done and I'd be happy.
Do you think that Flat Earth is really going to die?
I don't think so, unfortunately. You look at Google Trends, there's not been any drop off in the last 3 years, but there's also not been any rise. There seems to be a kind of a steady level of people that are flat earthers. And I notice in the comments, there'd be waves of new faces that disappear after when they get bored for it. And then there'd be a bunch of new people that you recognize for a while. And I just think as long as there's idiots saying this stuff on the internet, there's going to be people that maybe aren't really sure that take it as truth, and then it spreads. So I don't think it would die unless it literally went away and everyone kept it to themselves.
Yes, well, I don't know. It's I don't think it will ever die, because there's always going to be, like any cult, there's always going to be those people that are just going to believe it no matter what, and they won't listen to reason, they won't listen to truth, they won't listen to anything except a fellow flat earther. So yeah, it's up to friends and families to get to those people, I think.
And in the first interview I did with Clear Cognition, he said that friends and family were the things that saved him. He was fully invested in Flat Earth, and he had no doubts in his mind that that's what it was, and the only way that he could get out of it was by people that were close to him helping him. And maybe for a lot of people that is the answer. Maybe they don't have people that are close to them. A lot of conspiracy theorists that I've met seem to be, I don't want to use the word loners, but maybe more introverted than other people. Maybe it's the lack of communication and connection with other people that can make their mindset go that way.
Yeah. So Gary Lowe in the comments has said, I lived with a flat earth for the best part of 3 years. I can confirm it is a cult. So there you have it.
I've heard similar comments from people that have lived with flat earthers that they think it was a cult because it was all that they would talk about forever. It was, they'd have friends over, but then they'd end up leaving because the roommate wouldn't shut up about flat earth. And that is, when you're in a cult, that's all you can think about, right?
Yes. So I'd ask anyone else in the chat there, you got any questions? And because I'm racking my brain here about what's the best way. You got to look at. Here's a question here. Do you and Fight the Flat Earth think there are more new flat earthers coming in the last few months? So I'll say I don't really know. I can't tell, but what do you think?
I don't know about new YouTubers necessarily, but like I said, I do see waves of new regular commenters. Whether that's new people or old ones with stock accounts, I don't know, but I do think there always seems to be new people coming into the flat earth.
And excuse me again. Another question: what's the next conspiracy that needs paid attention to? That's Busted Shark asks that.
I think anti-vaxxers really annoy me because do you know what the only thing that vaccines causes? It's adults.
Okay. And would you ride Origin Blue?
If you, I would give my left leg. Oh wait, that's already coming off. I would, yes, I would most definitely go into space given the option. I'm gutted I wasn't born 100 years later, because I think if I was born 100 years later, I'd be in the era of space tourism. And I know a lot of flat earthers are like, oh, look at these Star Trek fans. Do you just want to live in your Star Wars universe? But you know what? Who wouldn't want to fucking live in a place where you could travel through the stars and see everything else? Look how amazing and big the universe is. Don't you want to see what's out there? Who wouldn't want to see what's out there?
Oh, that'd be amazing, I think. I have in the past read a lot of science fiction. Do you interested in science fiction stories too?
I was obsessed with Discworld for a while, funnily enough. Terry Pratchett was, I think I've read everything Terry Pratchett ever wrote. Douglas Adams is one of my favorite authors. Have you read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yeah.
I've read all 5 of those books probably 100 times, because it's clever writing as well. It's not just science fiction, but it's clever. And it's a bit of fantasy, thinking about going into space and stuff. And maybe that's what fueled part of my passion for physics and maths. Who knows?
Yeah, one of my favorite things from science fiction is the hyperdrive. Do you think that we'll ever get one of those?
The theoretical physics behind warping space-time in a way to have like the classic Star Trek warp engine, it is theoretically possible, but the energy requirements are beyond anything that we know how to achieve. If we knew how to generate unlimited energy, then I think we could do whatever we wanted. But the problem is figuring out how to generate that energy that we need to. We are on the edge of breaking cold fusion and stuff. I think the Chinese are going to do that in the next 5 years.
Ah, interesting. So somebody's asked a question, which I think you've already answered, about what's the stupidest flat earther theory you've come across. I think you did mention the moon coming.
Yeah, pretty much anything Ross Thatcher says. But all right, okay, there's another guy that I debated on Non Sequitur Show called Edge Wise. This guy's entire thing is pareidolia, right? He sees shapes in things. And he says the Earth is more than just flat. It's actually the remains of giant serpents that have been spread out. And when you look at the shapes of the countries, you can see skulls of ancient creatures and everything. And he's dead serious about this. And I tried explaining to him that you were literally just seeing shapes and stuff. It doesn't mean that it's there. But if you ever go to Edge Wise's channel, be in for a ride, because that's some next level crazy. So yeah, dragons made the flat Earth. That's one of the craziest ones.
I'm just waiting for someone to say it's the Earth's a piece of space dung left behind by some celestial animal.
Well, there's crazier theories. I mean, come on. Like, who would put us in a giant snow globe? Like, seriously. And then they try and say that this is the more logical explanation. And that blows my mind when they try and switch around Occam's razor or switch around burden of proof and stuff. That's what blows my mind about these people, is that they think that that's the more sensible thing.
Yeah, here's the thing. They often make joke of the 1,000-mile-per-hour spin on the Earth. Well, what about their dome at the edge? It's spinning at 2,000 mile an hour. Or what about the interface between the dome and the Earth? How's that stop heating up? And what about the wind that would be created by this 2,000 mile an hour dome spinning around, eh?
But my holy book. I mean, the thing, when they go, oh, well, it was made by a creator just for us. It's perfect just for us. Well, no, not really. You know what? 99.9% of the stuff on this planet is trying to kill you. This planet is not made for us.
Here's a question. So, do you think flat earthers generally have a mental illness or just in it for the money?
A lot of them are in it for the money. surprisingly enough, both of the ex-flat earthers I've interviewed have said that they've had personal contact with Nathan Oakley and that he has told them that he isn't a flat earther. So I know for a fact there's some of them that are just in it for the money. But some of them, I think the ones that are in deep when it's a cult, maybe there is some kind of mental condition that is making them think that way. And sometimes I genuinely want to say to people, you need to go and get some help, actually speak to somebody. But I don't want to be super offensive in that way by saying you've got a mental illness, you need to go and sort it out. But I think some of them maybe do. Scotty Storm, for instance, I think that guy's got real issues. Another fellow Aussie.
Yeah. Don't remind me about that.
He said he would only debate me if I admitted to a bunch of conspiracy theories, because he thinks I'm the stupid one because I don't think everything is a conspiracy theory. And surely your brain's got to be broken to think that way.
I don't know what goes on. I'm just me, and I don't understand it all. We struggle to understand it. It's a little hobby of mine, I suppose, to try and work out what goes on and try to think of new ways to get through to people like that.
Yeah.
Is it possible? I don't know.
I mean, I know there is people that can come out of it because, I've spoken to a few of them, but I don't know if it's possible to get through to a lot of them. Like someone like Jeranism, I think in his head, he knows that it's not a flat earth, but he is so far into it that he could never admit that he's been wrong. And I don't know if that's stubbornness or if that is some kind of mental illness, but it's definitely something that's broken.
Yes, that's right. I mean, when you're in that deep, what are you going to do? You're going to make yourself look stupid by admitting you're wrong and cut off all your income? I know that's a hard thing to do for someone.
Yeah, exactly. If any flat earthers are watching, this is never going to happen. But if someone came to me with 100% evidence that the earth was flat, that I could verify, I would be like, okay, I have to change my stance, because that's what science is. If you have evidence that then suggests something else that can supersede the previous, theories, then you would advance. You adapt to what the new knowledge is, but they could never accept any new knowledge. I could, if it was proved to me, accept that the earth was flat, but I don't think a lot of flat earthers, even if it's proved to them 100%, could ever accept the earth as a globe.
Yes, it's a bit like that.
Just to clarify, I do not think the earth is flat, and no one will ever convince me of that. Okay?
I think the issue is I have too much evidence. I have too much personal evidence. It would take a lot of convincing with evidence, which I'm still yet to see. I don't see it.
Yeah, exactly. But you can present all of this absolute 100% evidence to them, and they just go, yeah, no, but that's just perspective.
Yes.
Like, perspective is alpha equals 2arc tan times g over 2r. That's perspective. Stop trying to change the meaning of things.
And we get these statements like Zesta's made in the chat. Just statements without any evidence. Globe is not proved. No.
But then my question to people like this is, what will you accept as evidence? Because I've got a standing invitation to go on to the shed for Beyond Imaginary Curve for Dell, right? And I've told Dell straight out, I will come on if you tell me what you will accept as evidence. Because I know he can't answer that question, because he will never accept anything as evidence, because I can go there with all the evidence that I know to be 100% fact, with backup, with everything to prove what I'm saying, and he will refuse it all. So I will go there. If he tells me what he will accept as evidence, then I'll get that evidence and bring it to him. But people like Zesta will say globe is not proved, but they will never say what will prove it to them, because they're creating this unfalsifiable narrative in their head.
Yes, that's right. And at least Antonio Subirats has said, "Oh, this is what'll prove the globe," and I've just gone out and done it.
Well, let's see how he responds to that. I hope, I think out of all the flat earthers, although Antonio Subirats can be insanely stupid sometimes, I think if there's anyone that's maybe likely to change his mind, he might be one of them. If I think he can analyze things more critically than other people, but he's still a flat earther and pretty stupid. So if he's intellectually honest and accepts the evidence that you've given, then maybe he might change his stance, or he's going to come up with something like height angular perspective distance that supersedes the coalition of the collimation of the density when it compresses.
I just, Alexis, I'm waiting to see what he says. I mean,
so, Zesta says, you don't accept peer-reviewed science as evidence. All right, Zesta, you go and get me a peer-reviewed paper that says the Earth is flat, and I will consider it as evidence. But I can guarantee you 100%, there is no peer-reviewed scientific papers anywhere that say the Earth is flat. Okay? Everything that is peer-reviewed says that the Earth is a globe. Just saying.
Even a lot of the so-called papers that the flat earthers bring up, they're all by globe earth scientists, but the flat earthers twist the meaning of them.
What's the recent one they brought up, the NASA papers that was talking about a reference frame of using a stationary motionless Earth to navigate over. But that whole paper was based on short distance traveling and everything. And when you actually look at the title of the paper, it says how to apply flat navigation to globe model and everything. And the whole paper is about how to make things work on a globe. But they will go through things like that, cherry pick anything that they think proves their point. The word stationary, the word motionless, and then think that that proves what they're trying to say. But that's not how you do it. You have to take everything into account.
Exactly. Right. As I said before, well, I don't like to go too long, so I'd like to wrap this up pretty soon. Let's see. I think any final words, anything you'd like to leave us with?
I just want to say thank you very much for having me on, and never take things as fact if you're told them. Yeah, go and research, but then just don't stop. A lot of flat earthers will go, I've done research because I went and looked at the sky and the sun moved above me. But then that's where they stop. Don't ever stop questioning things. But at the same time, when you reach a conclusion that makes sense, don't keep looking for things that aren't there. You know, a lot of flat earthers say that, oh, you can't prove things to me because you haven't done the experiment yourself. But science isn't about everybody doing everything for themselves. Science is about having theories and knowledge that have been passed down and expanding on it and using it to make sense of the natural world around you. And somewhere along the line, they have co-opted the whole scientific universe and the whole meaning of science to somehow fit their narrative. And it's important to just not fall down that rabbit hole. There's so much out there that can prove the right things to you. And it's quite clear that most flat earthers are lying and in it for the money. And if you can prove that to yourself, it should make you realize something.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. That's been very interesting. It's been fun to have you on the show, and maybe I'll get a chance to talk to you another time. Great. Thanks.
Thank you very much.